She was only 14 when it happened. A girl named Maya Coleman, deaf since birth, walking home from the public library in a small town called Brookhaven. She wasn't doing anything strange, just moving her hands in rhythm, signing the lyrics of a song she loved. Her sketchbook peeked out of her backpack, pages filled with superheroes who spoke in her language. But in the eyes of two cops rolling up in their cruisers, those same movements were something to fear. One officer barked, "Stop!" She never heard it. The next moment, the crack of a gun split the air, and Maya collapsed to the ground, her pink hoodie blooming red, her hands frozen mid-sign. The plaza went silent. A cafe owner named Trina rushed out phone filming, shouting, "She's deaf! You just shot a child!" The officer tried to steady his voice, muttering, "She matched the description. Suspicious behavior." But the crowd wasn't buying it. They'd seen the sketchbook fall, they'd heard the silence, and they knew the truth. By the time an ambulance carried Maya away, people were already tagging the walls with spray paint. Justice for Maya. What nobody knew yet was who her father was. Jonah Coleman wasn't an ordinary man. He'd once been the quiet architect of some of the most advanced intelligence systems the country had ever built. A ghost. In the wires, a man who coded mirrors that could predict behavior before it happened. 5 years earlier, after his wife Marlene died, under suspicious circumstances, he vanished from public life. He raised Maya alone, flipping pancakes in the morning, signing, instead of speaking, trying to give her a childhood free from the shadows he used to live in. But the moment he got the emergency alert, his daughter's name, her condition critical, the ghost came back. He didn't pack a bag. Within 12 minutes, he was on a jet heading for Brookhaven. No press, no escort, just coordinates and fury. At the hospital, doctors fought to keep Maya alive. A trauma surgeon froze when she saw the emergency contact Jonah Coleman. She knew the name, everyone in the intelligence world did, but nobody expected to hear it spoken aloud again. Meanwhile, back at the precinct, Officer Phil Rowan sat in his cruiser, shaking. His partner snapped. "You didn't even give her a chance," Rowan muttered. "She wouldn't stop. I gave a warning." "She couldn't hear you," the partner shot back. "She was deaf." But Rowan's eyes darted to the crowd, to the cameras, to the graffiti spelling out her name. "They'll twist this," he whispered. His partner glared. "No. You already did." By the time Jonah's plane touched down, the city was boiling. Inside the hospital, he slipped past security using a janitor's badge, just like he used to slip through foreign firewalls. He stood in a dim hallway, watching his daughter's name flicker on a monitor, room 403. Status critical. He didn't blink. He didn't shake. He just knew he couldn't let their story win. Two old allies met him there. Caleb, a former field operative with a sharp eye, and Kira, once an NSA liaison, now an underground cyber activist. They hacked into the precinct servers, pulling every log, every dispatch. And what they found wasn't a malfunction, it was a manual entry. Someone at the station had flagged Maya as a black female juvenile, erratic behavior, unrecognized hand motions, possible gang signal. It wasn't an algorithm, it wasn't bad luck. It was typed by a human being, Captain Harold Mercer. Jonah stared at the screen. "They didn't kill her by mistake," he said quietly. "They killed her because the system told them it was okay to be afraid of her." Kira dug deeper, uncovering emails between Mercer and Mayor Evelyn Brooks. The mayor had pushed for a predictive threat initiative, rerouting school safety funds to pay for an AI system built by a defense contractor. And in one of the memos, her words were chilling. "Preemptive observation is not aggression. Compliance must be trained, especially in younger demographics." Jonah didn't need to translate. He knew corporate language when he heard it. It meant they were using kids like Maya as test subjects for a system that equated difference with danger. "This is your smoking gun," Caleb said. Jonah shook his head. "No, this is the ignition. They leaked the truth. Not with commentary, not with spin, just the raw footage. Maya walking, signing the words of a chien, and the shot that dropped her. They paired it with the mayor's memo. They let the country decide, and the country did, within minutes." "Her hands are not weapons" was trending. Protesters filled the streets, standing in silence, their own hands raised in the shape of letters. Schools began holding emergency meetings. Parents filmed themselves signing "I love you" to their kids for the first time. But Jonah wasn't finished. He confronted Mayor Brooks at her own doorstep. She opened the door with a glass of wine in hand, but her face drained when she saw him. "You signed the order," he said calmly. "You buried it under school safety funds. And now a 14-year-old girl is fighting for her life because of it." She tried to brush him off. "You can't prove anything." Jonah pressed play on his phone. Her own voice spilled out. "If they can't follow verbal protocol, they're a risk, especially the kids." Her knees buckled. "You don't scare me," she snapped weakly. Jonah leaned closer. "Then let's find out what does." By dawn, the recording was everywhere. Teachers' unions shared it, parents reposted it, news anchors stumbled over the words. And at the hospital, Maya opened her eyes for the first time. Weak, trembling, she raised a hand and signed to her father. "Am I still me?" Jonah pressed his forehead to hers. "You are more than they'll ever understand," he whispered. Soon after, Maya went live for the first time. No music, no edits, just her hands moving slowly, powerfully in front of the camera. Kira voiced the translation. "I am not dangerous, I am just different. They didn't shoot at me. They shot at the idea that someone like me could exist without apology." Millions watched in silence, many of them learning the ASL alphabet on the spot. Teenagers reposted clips with the caption, "Hands are not weapons." Parents cried as they realized their kids had lived the same quiet battles. The trial came weeks later. The courtroom was packed, teachers, activists, parents, students, all wearing black hoodies with the words she was signing. Maya rolled in pale but upright, her father by her side. Across the room sat Officer Rowan, stripped of his badge, shrinking in his suit. The judge began, "This is not just a case about an officer's decision. It is a case about what our systems teach us to fear." Rowan's own colleague testified against him. "I told him she was deaf," the young officer said. "He ignored me. He just wanted to be right." Then came the damning report, Fortis Defense's manual equating sign language with gang signals. The jury gasped, and then it was Maya's turn. She wheeled to the center, uncapped a marker, and wrote on her board in big, bold letters, "I will not die in silence." The room erupted in tears. Even the defense attorney dropped his pen. The jury deliberated only a few hours before finding Rowan guilty on all counts: aggravated assault, abuse of power, civil rights violations. But the bigger fall came after. Mayor Brooks was indicted, Fortis Defense contracts frozen, and the so-called predictive system dismantled in multiple cities. Still, Jonah knew this was only the beginning. With Caleb and Kira, he launched something new, the Coleman Code, a platform where families could share their stories of kids mislabeled as threats simply for being different. Thousands of pins appeared on the map within weeks. Kids suspended for moving their hands too much. Autistic teens misread as hostile, deaf children punished for not responding fast enough. And through it all, Maya streamed again and again. Her hands carried the fire of 1,000 voices, reminding the world what it had tried to forget, that silence isn't compliance, difference isn't danger, and justice doesn't need to shout to be heard. So let me ask you this: when you see a kid moving different, speaking different, living different, do you see danger or do you see humanity? Because the way we answer that will decide what kind of world we leave behind. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me if you've ever seen someone judged unfairly, or if you've been through it yourself. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because stories like Maya's aren't just about the past, they're about the fight for tomorrow.